Hello everyone. Welcome to the fifth part of consumer perception, in which we are going to discuss about the next and the last but the important sub-process of consumer perception, that is interpretation and its principle. There's one principle in interpretation, that is perceptual distortion. Certain things which happens, there's a fault from, or you can say the mistake from the side of the consumer, where marketer want to convey something else, but there is certain misinterpretation of the stimuli take place. That is a process known as perceptual distortion. The perceptual distortion can happen with so many ways. The first is talking about physical appearance. Positive attribute of people they know to those who resembles that. This is a tendency of the consumers. Generally, we draw positive attribute towards regarding any of the product or a service where we feel like that they resemble too much with a known. So that is how the importance of models come, or celebrity endorsement come into picture in the advertisement. So marketer uses a lot of attractive model to pursue the consumer, because they know that in the process of interpretation, consumer message, the entire understanding of the specific stimuli can be distorted with the help of physical appearance. Physical appearance generally associated with the quality of the people in the advertisement. Attractive models can influence the positive influence. Shape of the package can also influence. I've taken a small example of Minute Maid Pulpy Orange. You must have all seen this brand readily available in the market. See how the physical marketer uses physical appearance in terms of creating a USP for the brand. If you just see the texture of the bottle, which is they're the pulpy orange, although they are providing pulp of orange in the specific brand, but yes, even the texture, you just see the texture of the bottle itself, it's a very granular texture, which also give a specific appearance to the bottle of Minute Maid, which clearly consumer easily get attracted that yes, there's a lot of pulp inside the bottle because of the texture of the specific packaging of the bottle. Next, you can see the ad of L'Oreal on the screen, where they've roped in Aishwarya Rai as a celebrity or model for giving the advertisement of L'Oreal. But see how consumer can perceive the specific product when they see the models on the screen. When you see that Aishwarya Rai is giving an advertisement for L'Oreal, so obviously the people who are looking forward to color their hairs with L'Oreal, so the physical appearance or the attractiveness of the color of the Aishwarya Rai act as one of the stimulus in terms of drawing a positive influence regarding the specific picture of Aishwarya Rai with the hairs, specific colored hair, so that it help in drawing the attention and getting understanding of the stimuli, and that is how the consumer get attracted toward the brand. This is a well-known campaign of Dove on the screen. They have not roped in any of the model, but yes, they have taken women from different ethnic group, clearly giving the message talking about no matter any, you're talking about the physical appearance, but Dove provide nourishment to all the women. This is a question to all of you. I think you all must have seen this, the problematic ad of UCB, that is United Color of Benetton. So they actually want to say something, but people have got a different perception regarding this specific advertisement. They're talking about the United Color. They want the different ethnic group. They are united with the brand when they're using United Color of Benetton. But actually, this become a very controversial ad. Later, they have to remove this advertisement. What consumer is able to perceive is that this is basically talking about promoting a lot of interracial and homosexual family at that point of time, and advertising was almost devoid of some such depictions. So this is also an example of how a perceptual distortion takes place because of the physical appearance. Then the second sub-process of perceptual distortion is talking about the stereotype. Is a tendency of the people to hold meaning related to the specific stimuli. We generally draw a meaning regarding the group when we generally perceive the specific stimuli. If we ask anyone what about their outlook toward the Chinese goods. So they will always say the Chinese goods are very inferior in quality, but yes, they have got one positive effect, but positive point, that is they are very, very economical. So suppose take for example any company in China, he actually want to manufacture goods with a very good quality and want to keep the price higher, but actually Chinese would have got a different kind of perception in the mind of the consumers, and that is why it helped them in drawing a very stereotypic kind of image in the mind. First impression, either it can be a product or a service. And even I think you all will agree with me, Elsie, when you go for an interview, you always want to have a first impression is a lasting impression. So same thing happened with the marketer also. The first impression is a lasting impression for the any of the product and services. That is why marketer want consumer to perceive in a very positive manner, and they want to keep it very very prominent, so that their first impression should be a lasting and enduring. You must see seen in this you are seeing on the screen itself, there's an ice cream taster, as well as there's a testers for certain lipsticks also. So that is a concept which come in talking about the first impression, how marketer are using this concept, because they want the first impression to be the lasting impression. They don't want consumer to buy the brand putting so much of money into that, and they are not able to get a right impression into that. Is why the role of tester come into existence. Force talking about jumping to conclusion. This is a tendency, human tendency. We even this happens true to most of us, that we generally come to a conclusion without creating an entire listening to the proper message. We generally come to a conclusion and draw a specific image. So it is very important when you are designing a advertisement in terms regarding your product or service, you have to keep a persuasive argument very first in the advertising, rather than jumping, so that the consumer can't jump to a conclusion. Fourth is talking about halo effect. I think you all must have studied in organization behavior. The halo effect talking about consumer perceive and evaluate multiple objects based on such one dimension, but only one dimension, which I liked it. Use in licensing of names, even talking about spokesperson choice. You just see this example of halo effect, how Adidas, which has got a strong equity in branded athlete, is a well-known athlete brand, will provide t-shirts, apparels, as well as footwears also, very specifically targeting the specific set of consumer, because they know that people have got a strong brand equity and identity regarding the Adidas. So this help them taking the care of the halo effect. And that is how they're able to launch a new product category, that is a first absorbent deodorant for women. So if I give you such an example of the brand, as you can see in the screen, Toyota is basically meant for quality, Ford is talking about safety, Sony is talking about the music. So that is a halo effect which a specific brand has created, which will help them in carry forward the same brand identity with their further extension in the brand portfolio, in terms of creating a specific identity in the mind. This is another example of halo effect, how Olay has roped in Kajol as a brand ambassador. I think you all must have gone through a very famous case study of Olay, or the brand of PNG, which was once long back entered into the Indian market, and they were very unsuccessful. They went back and they planned, they repositioned, they re-entered the Indian market with a new brand name, that is Olay. And yes, they have used the halo effect of Kajol very nicely in their advertising strategy, catering to the same age group of ladies as a target segment, and that is how they are able to build the brand in a very short span of time. So there's some of the questions for you. I think you should, whatever we have covered till now, you should go through the specific application oriented. The certain questions are there where you're able to understand how consumers are using this specific concept. That is, what is sensory discrimination, a just noticeable difference, and find out one advertisement of any product or service of your choice which encourages you to visit his website. Any of the specific ads you have gone through in your previous days, which have actually provoked you to visit specific website, and how can you justify your selection? What is one thing you liked in the ad which actually provoke you to go to the website and look for the further detail? As I've already shared with you, that perception process will help consumer in terms of drawing a specific image regarding any product and services. So this is a concept of consumer imaginary come into the existence. Consumer formulate certain image of the marketing stimuli that they face with. This is a reference to a imagery. The perceived image that get formed may relate to the product services offering it there and the marketing mix itself. So, what are the different factors which influence in terms of creating a specific consumer imaginary that is talking about product positioning and repositioning? Either brands can position themselves on the basis of point of parity or point of differentiation. Point of parity is always vis-a-vis competitor, and point of differentiation is talking about the USP of a specific brand. Second is talking about the perceived price. Either your price are your very high price, low price. So in specific segment you need to choose that where you actually want to position your product or service. Third, talking about perceived quality. Certain cues of product or service like size, color, or physical characteristic would always uh, give you an impression about a specific quality. Why we generally as a consumer perceive that all the packed product, like if you talk about haldi itself, it is coming in a packed package. Yes, loose haldi may be costing less than the packed haldi, but we have a specific perception in our mind that packed products are much more hygienic and you can trust about the quality itself. Fourth is talking about retail store image. That is how this help in a consumer imagery. Why buying shoes from Bata, not from a private label brands or any other unbranded, not from an unbranded store? Because we generally believe that the retail store has got a specific image. That is how marketer are using retail store images in terms of creating a specific perception in the mind of the consumer. Fourth is fifth is talking about manufacturer image. If you talk about Mahindra, it is very tough in quality. All cars on different segment like sedan, XUVs, whatever they have launched, they've got a strong, rough and tough kind of image, whatever they are. But it generally doesn't happen with the cars who are much more sophisticated or luxury cars we are talking about. So this is giving a kind impression about the manufacturer image itself. This concept can be very nicely used by the marketers in terms of launching the brand extension or coming up with the various product portfolio where they can use all these 5 points in terms of creating the specific image. I think one concept you're very much aware about is perceptual mapping. Perceptual mapping is a technique that enables marketer to plot a graphical regarding two specific attribute of the brand, whatever they want to place vis-a-vis competitor. So I just share you a perceptual map of, just see the perceptual map of Pepsi Next, what they want to launch. They want to launch a new extension to the family of Pepsi by the name Pepsi Next. So they started working on the two attribute, that is caffeine and sugar. So they've taken it both in the x and y axis. On, you can say, strong caffeine on and low, no caffeine, no sugar, and higher sugar. So they started placing the different competitive brands into perceptual map to find out where exactly the Pepsi Next can be fitted nicely so that there are no more clutters in the mind. Perceptual mapping is, you can say, indirectly, it is very indirectly, you can say, is a map of a mind of the consumer, how well the specific brand has been placed in the mind of the consumer. You can see on the extreme, on the upper side and extreme right, that Coke and Pepsis are overlapping each other. So some part is overlapping. It means if you talk about strong caffeine and high sugar, so at that point of time, you can talk about the taste itself. The consumer are not very, some of the consumer are not able to distinct both of them. So if you are not getting Coke, people can go to, some of the people can move to Pepsi itself. On the extreme left, you can say there are three brands that is with no sugar and strong caffeine, that is Diet Coke, Coke Zero, and Pepsi Max. And on the lower x-axis, you can say one of the brand that is Diet Mount Dew, which has no sugar and no caffeine, enjoying his solitary monopoly equity in the specific mind share. He's got a strong mind share with no competitor into that. So on, and even the other side, you can say Mountain Dew, Fanta, and Sprite as there, and the no caffeine and high sugar. So this is how the marketer can take help of perceptual mapping in terms of deciding. Suppose a brand is having 3 or 4 USPs, he can put his brand vis-a-vis the specific computer brand, in keeping any two specific quality in mind, and he is able to find out what is the one attribute where he can able to play, where he find there's no competitor into that. Just see the screen, Pepsi Next, no competitor in the specific scale. Diet Mountain Dew, no competitors there. So that is how you can able to grab that specific position in the mind of the consumer where there is no competition.